Yeah, so I've had the good fortune to lead 3 different commerce media networks, one at Staples, then Sephora, and now at Sallie Mae. And the biggest lesson has been that the strength of the commerce media network is really founded on the underlying customer relationship. So these different networks are across very different industries, so office products, the beauty industry, and now education finance. And on the surface, these look very different. But at the end of the day, what's consistent is that advertisers are not just buying media placements or access to transaction data. What they're buying access to is your customer relationships. So if you have deep, enduring customer relationships and rich signal, you'll be able to build a high-performant commerce media network.
Love to talk a little bit more about the new network you're launching with Sallie Mae and what makes that stand out in the marketplace. Obviously, a financial institution is different from the other commerce networks you've launched. What stands out here?
Yeah, so there's definitely a proliferation of commerce media networks in the industry. And what really excited me about this was that almost every vertical now has a commerce media network. Education finance, we have the opportunity to be a first mover, and so that's super exciting. The other thing, sort of building on the last question, is that Sallie has incredibly unique and differentiated relationships with our customers. We are with them through their entire education journey, so we know about their financial position, we know when they're starting school, what they're studying, where they're going to school. And so this unique combination of education and financial signals allows us to predict their future trajectory in a way that no one else can. And what we're showing is that that predictive power applies to anticipating the things that they're going to need and predicting their future purchasing behaviors. So that's something that's really relevant for advertisers.
Marco, I wanted to get into how the economics and expectations change when you move from on-site inventory to off-site activation.
Sure, so very different, particularly for the retailer or commerce player. The most obvious difference is that for on-site media, you own the property, and so the margin structure is very different. You keep 90% of the brand budget and essentially drop it to EBITDA. For off-site, you have working media costs. So different commerce media networks charge different things. It might be anywhere from 10 to 50%, and that margin rate really depends on the performance that you can drive. So if you drive strong ROAS, then you may be able to get away with charging bigger margins. The other thing about off-site is that it's more complex. You've got a number of different platforms and partners to work with, so it can be expensive to run. What we've found, both at Staples and then Sephora and what we're building now at Sallie Mae, is if you can run these channels together, they perform better. So on-site performs really well, lower funnel, you have the transaction data. Off-site is better for awareness and consideration, and it's also more incremental. So if you weave these things together, you can drive better performance in a cross-channel campaign.
Marco, I have a kind of chicken or the egg question for you. In your experience, what actually drives more value, the media itself or the data behind it?
So both the media and the data are super important. You need to excel at both to perform. I'd say in terms of relative value, it's shifting more towards audience and insights. Impressions are commoditized at this point, and in the age of agentic commerce, I think transactions are going in that direction too. So the underlying audience insights and the predictive power that you have over the course of a customer's journey is super important. But ultimately, I think you need to do both really well. You need to do data and media and also measurement really well in order to succeed.
Marco, one last question, kind of looking a little bit more forward. What should advertisers be keeping a close eye on this year, particularly when it comes to commerce media?
Yeah, so there's 3 things that I'd call out, and they're all sort of related. The first is keep an eye on transaction data as agentic commerce matures. The more we see agents making transactions and optimizing transactions on things like price, I think the closed loop foundation of retail media networks is going to become noisy. The second is keep an eye on more sort of high consideration categories. So financial services, insurance, auto. these are categories where the customer is still going to be in the loop. And so I think they're more durable for commerce media. And then finally, I think commerce media in general is poised to continue to emerge to be a strong complement to retail media. With what's happening to transaction data in the age of agentic commerce, those audience insights and the predictive power that they bring to advertisers are going to become increasingly important.